It's that time of year where there's just a lot of trade rumors going through the air. Right now, the big one is obviously the Giannis Antetokounmpo potential trade that could be coming in the next week or so. Now, today, I feel like we should look back on some of the other biggest trades of the last 10, 15 years or so, back to 2010, see how much the league has changed, and see if our thoughts have changed on each of these trades that were considered pretty much the biggest trade of that trade deadline. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to regrade them. Let's start with 2010. Antawn Jamison to the Cavs. Antawn Jamison was 2 years removed from his last All-Star on the Wizards. Jamison was on pace to average 20 points per game for the fourth time in 5 years in 41 games with the Wizards. Those numbers dropped to 15.8 points per game in 21 games with the Cavs. The Cavaliers also got Sebastian Telfair, which is really cool because him and LeBron obviously had a relationship before the NBA. They were both really huge in high school, so they even got to be on the Slam magazine cover together, so it's really awesome that they got to be teammates. When this trade happened, Ilgauskas getting traded kind of shocked me because he felt like a Cavs lifer, like LeBron also felt at that time. Come to find out, he'd get bought out immediately by the Wizards and re-signed with the Cavs after clearing waivers, taking advantage of a loophole that allowed this in that CBA at the time. When it comes to the Cavs, I'm going to give them a B because Antawn Jamison did play a big role on that team that year, but maybe not to the level that they thought that he was going to. When it comes to the Wizards, they did get a first round pick out of this, so I feel like they can't be too mad. And the Clippers, they got Drew Gooden, who didn't do so much with them, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a C. 2011. Carmelo Anthony trade. Now, this is one that's very near and dear to my heart because I'm a Celtics fan and a Nuggets fan. I was a big fan of the Nuggets originally because of Carmelo Anthony. When he wanted to get traded from the Nuggets, it definitely hurt my soul. I still follow the Nuggets to this day, but all love to Carmelo Anthony at the end of the day. The Knicks get Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups, Sheldon Williams, Ronaldo Bachman, Anthony Carter, and Corey Brewer. The Denver Nuggets get Raymond Felton, Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, Timofey Mozgov, 2014 first round draft pick, 2016 pick swap which turned into Jamal Murray, 2012 and 2013 second round picks, and center Costa Koufis and $3 million. And the Minnesota Timberwolves get Eddie Curry, Anthony Randolph, $3 million as well, and 2015 second round draft pick. This was a real premier trade. Being a Nuggets fan at the time was really tragic because Melo was Denver at that time and was begging to be traded to the Knicks. The big talking point with this trade has always been, did the Knicks give up too much for Melo when they could have just signed him outright the next offseason? But it's a little more complicated than that. The CBA was about to expire, so Melo wanted to get extended under the CBA that was in place at the time, so it didn't get swept up in the lockout. There was also the New Jersey Nets across the bridge threatening to sign him in the offseason as they were moving to a new arena in Brooklyn the following year. The Knicks pre-Melo trade were a fun up and down team, and Amari Stoudemire was the center of their world. With the Melo trade, their ceiling definitely rose. The biggest thing is definitely the fact that the first round pick involved turned into Jamal Murray. I'm going to give the Knicks an A, the Denver Nuggets a B+, and the Minnesota Timberwolves a C- because Anthony Randolph didn't really do much for them. 2012, Andrew Bogut to the Warriors. The Bucks get Monte Ellis, Epe Udoh, and Kwame Brown, and the Warriors get Andrew Bogut and Steven Jackson. Before this trade, the Warriors were a fun team with a young prospect with potential and a high-volume scoring veteran guard splitting ball handling duties. This deal didn't just solidify the center position for the Warriors for the next few years, but also opened up the runway for Steph to be the star of the show and Klay Thompson to join the starting lineup to form the Splash Brothers. So the Bucks are going to get a C because Monte Ellis, even though he did have it all,
I would put myself in the same category as D-Wade. I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing that he have that I don't have is, more wins and 2 championships. That's it. As far as playing on the same level, competing every night, both ends, shoot inside, outside, fast break, transition, Monte Ellis have it all.
He really didn't do much for them, to be quite honest. And the Warriors get an A+ because Andrew Bogut helped them get a ring. 2013, JJ Redick to the Bucks. The Bucks get JJ Redick, Gustavo Ayon, and Ish Smith. Orlando gets Tobias Harris, Doron Lamb, and Beno Udrih. The Bucks basically gave away a young Tobias Harris to the Magic. JJ was scooped up to bolster a playoff push, but but shot just 32% from 3 with the Bucks and just ended up getting swept in the first round by the Heat. JJ was sent to the Clippers that summer. For the Magic, they got Tobias Harris, who was a big part of their initial rebuild post-Dwight Howard and helping establish them pre-Aaron Gordon era. For the Bucks, I'm going to go ahead and give them a D because JJ Redick really did nothing for them. And for the Magic, I'm going to go ahead and give them an A. 2014, Evan Turner to the Pacers. The Sixers get Danny Granger and a second-round pick. The Pacers get Evan Turner and Lavoy Allen. This trade right here is really a lose-lose, if we're being honest. Former number 2 overall pick Evan Turner goes to the Pacers after being on pace for his highest scoring season yet. He dropped from 17.4 points per game to 7 on the Pacers in a 6-man role. Turner was initially brought in to be a Lance Stevenson replacement, but he never got a good rhythm with this team. On the Sixers side, they received Danny Granger, a perennial fringe all-star who was having a horrendous shooting season. I forgot he got traded to the Sixers, so that tells you all you really need to know. Because this was a lose-lose, I think the Sixers get a D, and the Pacers also get a D. Yeah. 2015, Isaiah Thomas to the Celtics. Celtics get Isaiah Thomas, Jonas Jerebko, and Gigi Datome. Phoenix gets Marcus Thornton, Cavs 2016 first-round pick via the Celtics, which became Dragon Bender, and Detroit gets Tayshaun Prince. See, now this is a classic one for all the people that were watching the NBA during the mid-2010s. For me as a Celtics fan, I remember thinking that they just weren't going to pull the trigger on a trade. What I know for sure is that no one expected this IT deal as it made its way through as a buzzer beater right at the deadline. This was one of the best trades Danny Ainge would make as Celtics GM, as IT would go on to set the Celtics culture for the post-Big Three era. Phoenix got a solid scorer in Marcus Thornton, and the Cavs 2016 pick, which, became Dragon Bender. So the Celtics, I'm going to give them an A+. Phoenix, I'm going to give them a C+, because Dragon Bender was kind of a waste of a pick when we look back on it, wasn't it? And Detroit, they get a C, because Tayshaun Prince's reunion didn't actually really give them much, but at the end of the day, it was still a nice, heartfelt moment. 2016, Jeff Green to the Clippers, and Lance Stevenson to the Grizzlies. Clippers get Jeff Green. Grizzlies get Lance Stevenson and a lottery-protected first-round pick. This one is odd at first glance, but really turned into a win-win for both teams. Lance was playing like pure shite for the Clippers prior to this trade, averaging less than 5 points per game, but after going to Memphis, that shot up to 14.2 points per game. And he also shot over 53% from the field and 40% from 3 in 4 games for 13 points per game for the Grizzlies in the playoffs. While Jeff Green didn't play as big of a role as Lance did post-trade, for the Clippers, he averaged a little over 10 points per game in the regular season and playoffs, which contextually is double what Lance was giving them. But the Grizzlies win this one because of the added pick. The Clippers are going to get a B- and the Grizzlies are going to get a B+. 2017, Boogie Cousins to the Pelicans. The Pelicans get DeMarcus Cousins and Omri Caspi. The Kings get Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, Langston Galloway, a 2017 first-round pick, and a future second-round pick. This is one of the most memorable trade deadlines in general, but especially trades on this entire list, because I remember watching in real time that they had to change the rules on when the trade deadline was going to be because of this trade right here. Because DeMarcus Cousins was at the All-Star break being interviewed in a press conference before the All-Star game, and he finds out during the press conference that he got traded. Roll the clip.
All-Star questions first, please. Yeah. All-Star game questions.
What other questions we got?
Hey, DeMarcus, can you kind of sum up your All-Star experience and...
Oh, really?
Can you decide?
That's what
Can you sum up your All-Star experience? What it was like for all the great players?
It was amazing, man. I enjoyed the city of New Orleans, I love it here in New Orleans.
Definitely one of the funnier clips out there. As far as the Kings are concerned, the owner really loved Buddy Hield, and it's just kind of ironic that Tyreek Evans ended up back in Sacramento. The first round pick would go on to be Zach Collins, who wasn't even on the Kings roster for very long. When it comes to the Pelicans, I'm going to go ahead and give them an A-, and when it comes to the Kings, they're going to get a D. 2018, Cleveland swapping half the roster. The Cavs get George Hill and Rodney Hood. The Sacramento Kings get Joe Johnson, Iman Shumpert, 2020 second round pick. Utah gets Jay Crowder and Derrick Rose. Another trade, the Cavs get Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. The Lakers get Channing Frye, Isaiah Thomas and a 2018 first round pick. And in a third trade, the Cavs get a protected 2024 second round pick, and the Heat get Dwayne Wade. It's hard to pick one trade here that just involves one team and all this other stuff, because the Cavs literally traded half the roster mid-season. Yeah, so I might just give the Cavs a grade and call it a day on this one. Post Kyrie Cavs did not please a career year having LeBron James, so the GM had damn near the entire roster swapped out. They got a protected second round pick for Dwayne Wade, which really just felt like them doing him a favor so he'd go back to the Heat. Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. were definitely an upgrade over Channing Frye, and that year's version of Isaiah Thomas coming off hip surgery. Then swapping out Shumpert, D Rose, Jay Crowder for George Hill and Rodney Hood sounded good at the time, but I'm not sure if either lived up to the level of impact expected. Overall, I give the Cavs a B- for this overhaul, because it did get them to the finals. 2019, Marc Gasol to the Raptors. The Raptors receive Marc Gasol. The Grizzlies receive CJ Miles, Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, and a 2024 second round pick. Gasol goes to the Raptors after becoming a Grizzlies grit and grind legend. The Grizzlies get some decent role players and Jonas Valanciunas, who's a solid center for them for the next couple of years. For the Raptors, they get an A because they won the championship, and for the Grizzlies, they get a B- because it still provided them some value. 2020, Wiggins to the Warriors. The Warriors receive Andrew Wiggins, a 2021 first round pick, top 3 protected, and a 2021 second round pick. The Timberwolves received Jacob Evans, D'Angelo Russell, and Omari Spellman. This was the year that Steph missed all but 5 games of the season, so the Warriors were the D'Lo and Draymond show since KD left and Clay was out for the year too. It was clear even then that D'Lo wasn't probably going to be a long-term fit on the team, with Steph and Clay coming back the next year. This was also Jordan Poole's rookie year, and he started a stretch of consistently putting up double-digit points around the time of this trade, which only got better post-trade. That being said, the Warriors fleeced in this trade. They got Wiggins for the low, plus a first that turned into Kuminga for D'Lo and filler. D'Lo was very solid on Minnesota, playing some of the best defense of his career. He was helpful, but they definitely didn't get enough back. So for the Warriors, I'm going to give them an A-, and for the Timberwolves, they're going to get a C-. 2021, Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets. The Magic get Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, a future first-round pick. The Nuggets get Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark. At the time, most people probably thought that the Vucevic trade was the biggest of the 3 Magic blow-up trades. From an impact standpoint, I'm gonna go with Aaron Gordon. That year, he mixed in well next to Jokic and was looking like the missing piece for a team that just came off a conference finals appearance. Unfortunately, Jamal Murray would tear his ACL, but a couple years later, Gordon would prove that he was that missing piece needed for them to get over the hump. On the Magic side, Gary Harris was a solid guard that fell off pretty badly when he got traded there, and RJ Hampton never panned out, so it was a bit of a flop for them. The Magic get a D-, and the Nuggets get an A+. 2022. Ben Simmons and James Harden swap. The Nets get Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond. The 76ers get James Harden and Paul Millsap. This one was definitely a wild one for this season, yo, and the next year is also very wild. This is just funny because the NBA is just so unpredictable. Looking back at that time, Ben Simmons had been sitting out for the whole year for mental health reasons and hadn't played a single game for the 76ers.
You do not want to be there. You believe that they don't want you there. And he knows they don't, Skip, because they tried to trade him last year with James Harden. And I get it, James Harden for Ben Simmons, but still, even though that would have been a great trade for the Sixers, and James Harden is a better player than Ben Simmons, that man got pride. What he did is that he dumped all his food on the kitchen table and says, I want to get out.
Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, Kyrie was caught up in a lot of controversy, which caused him to miss most of the season, and KD had knee and ankle injuries that kept him sidelined. So for a good portion of the season, and especially at that time, James Harden was forced to carry the team on his back. He eventually got tired of the toxic situation and requested a trade. Looking back on it, Ben Simmons really never came back to form for the Nets, and really caused some issues for them. I'm gonna go ahead and give the Nets a C-. Harden at least played an integral role for the 76ers as a scorer and facilitator, and really helped Tyrese Maxey become who he is today. But since things crashed and burned,
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of again. Thank you, man.
I'm gonna give this a B. 2023, Kevin Durant to the Suns. The Nets get Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 first-round picks, 1 first-round pick swap, and 3 seconds. Phoenix gets Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. The Bucks get Jay Crowder, and the Pacers get Jordan Nwora, George Hill, Serge Ibaka, 3 seconds, and Cash. Another year, another Brooklyn Nets fiasco leading to players getting traded. Now, in big hindsight, the Sabonis Halliburton trade might actually be the bigger trade, considering Indiana is the only team mentioned here or there that actually makes a finals appearance after this deadline. But at the time, it was definitely the KD sweepstakes. For a little background info, this was another year where there was a big issue for Kyrie Irving getting caught up in some controversy, which seriously severed his relationship with the organization. So he wasn't playing much, and it was basically the KD and Friends show. That Nets team was actually playing really well. Then Kyrie requests a trade right before the deadline, causing KD to ask for his own as well. Talking on the trade itself, the Nets made off like bandits, draining Phoenix of resources that look wild by today's stingy standards. The Nets would also go on to flip Mikal for even more assets, so I have to give them an A+. Phoenix was actually a bit of a disappointment with KD, but he definitely did his part while he was there, so I'll give them a B+. The Pacers really didn't get much of value in this trade, so I'll give them a C. And the Bucks, they get a D, because why would you trade 4 seconds for a washed Jay Crowder? 2024, PJ to the Mavs. The Hornets receive Seth Curry, Grant Williams, 2027 first round pick, top 2 protected, and the Mavericks receive PJ Washington and 2 second round picks. This was a bit of a slow deadline following up the last couple, and I could have also gone with a couple other smaller trades like Gafford to the Mavs or Buddy Hield to the 76ers, but I decided to go with PJ here. For Charlotte, getting that first is great, especially since the Mavs are looking to downsize going into the future, so it could get very valuable. I'll give them an A, and for the Mavs, they get a B+, because PJ helped them get to the finals. If they got him without giving up a first, it would be an A for sure. 2025, Luka to the Lakers. The Lakers get Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. And the Mavs get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first via the Lakers. The Jazz get Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 seconds. This is definitely the least expected trade on this whole list, no question. No one really saw any kind of trade for Luka happening last year, except for Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka, because they were the only ones that talked about it. Nico said they were concerned about Luka's defense and health commitment, which you talk to Lakers fans this season, there's been some concern about both those things. However, I think the real reason was ownership not wanting to pay him the Supermax. The Lakers only had to give up their oft-injured star, a solid young guard, and 1 first-round pick for a top 3 player. They get an A+, because they have their franchise star going forward. The Jazz get a B+ for getting some free seconds to facilitate, and the Mavs did get an all-NBA caliber player, but he's always hurt, and they're already looking to move on from him. So they have to get an F, not for the trade itself, but because they didn't open the door to all the other teams in the NBA. With that being said, thank you for watching the video. If you made it this far, like the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Which one of these trades would you grade differently? And which one of these trades really kind of brought back some memories for you? And what was one of the craziest moments in the NBA? I promise you it might involve the Brooklyn Nets.